good morrow, and well met. 'Tis I, the Shakespearean student, and I won't be talking like that for the entire review, don't worry. I'm here to talk about an amazing moment of live theater where I got to see the Try Guys do a fully dramatized live version of Romeo and Juliet live on YouTube. To my knowledge, this has never been done before. A full Shakespeare performance done live over YouTube using the suggestions of the audience. I talked about this on my website, and also I'll talk about it later on my podcast, but for now I just want to talk about my top 10 favorite moments.
Number 10, the opening. The performance starts with an amazing montage using a lot of deep fake wall art and vlog footage and fake news reports where famous YouTubers comment on the events of the play, while at the same time the narration does the famous prologue, two households both alike in dignity. It's a fast-paced, frenetic, exciting affair that calls to mind, because I'm old, the 1996 Leonardo DiCaprio, Claire Danes version, where they quickly zip pan between newspaper articles, pictures, and other bits of media coverage to establish that this feud has affected everybody. Number 9, Eugene Yang as Mercutio. If you watch the Try Guys Go to Shakespearean Academy video, you know that Eugene loves language, he enjoys playing with it, and he has a natural knack for playing smarmy, intelligent characters with a bit of a acerbic edge. And so, of course, Mercutio was a perfect role for him. He seems almost menacing when he talks to Romeo sometimes, and definitely when he talks to Tybalt. I was a little disappointed in his portrayal of the nurse, though, I'll be honest. I felt like I couldn't quite tell what he was going for. I felt like he wasn't especially nurturing as the nurse, and not really playing up the comedy of the character. It seemed like he was kind of doing his own thing. But again, as Mercutio, he's a lot of fun. Number 8, Zach as Romeo. Again, the second video where they work with professional Shakespearean actors and practice various scenes and monologues, you can tell that Zach isn't terribly comfortable with Shakespeare. He has the least experience of all the Try Guys, and yet he threw his heart and soul into it. At times, he kind of has a sort of winking laughter where he slows down his pace and tries to talk like a Leonardo DiCaprio type. But other times, he fully throws himself into the role. And either way, it's fun to watch. Sometimes you feel like you're watching Zach. Sometimes you feel like you're watching a parody of Romeo, and sometimes there's some real, genuine human emotion. But at all points, it's fun. Number 7, the trampoline scene. Again, the selling point of this is that people got to vote online at crucial moments of the play. And during the famous balcony scene, you got to vote whether you wanted to see it performed on stilts, on a ladder, or on a trampoline. And trampoline won, which works perfectly with the dialogue. Romeo talks about how he wishes he could sail upon the bosom of the air. He wishes that Juliet was talking to the two of the brightest stars in heaven. And he talks about how with love's wings did he fly over the walls. So a trampoline is a great way to physically express all of that airy imagery. Number 6, the fights. The Try Guys also made a video where they train in stage combat with Swordplay LA. And they learn the basics of how to create the illusion of fighting on stage. I'm kind of a stage combat junkie myself. I've watched videos with Scalagrim, Mike Loads, professional fight choreographer, and various HEMA videos. I even teach an online class in stage combat for Outschool.com. So I was really excited to see how they portrayed it on stage. However, they also had the audience vote on this, and unfortunately the audience voted for, I probably will get demonetized for this, but they voted for let's just say a substitute for male anatomy that is used in a recreational activity. Which honestly made me a little annoyed at first, because they train to use swords, and a sword has reach. A sword play has a method and has real danger. This was much sillier and didn't allow the Try Guys to show off all the work that they did. But at the same time, it is kind of a funny joke, because let's be honest, challenging people to a duel is basically insulting their manhood. So, in a weird thematic way, symbolically, that's what they were fighting with. Number 5. The supporting cast. The supporting cast for this production is wonderful, many of whom are professional Shakespearean actors, such as Bukola Ogunmola, who is a Nigerian-American actress who was in LA's Shakespeare in the Park, and holds a MFA from the USC School of Dramatic Arts. Her portrayal of Benvolio is sweet and helpful, everything that Benvolio, as Romeo's best friend, should be. Brent Charles as Tybalt and Paris is very skilled and brings a lot of tongue-in-cheek humor, but without going too far to the parts of Paris and Tybalt. You can tell that he's deadly if he's using a real sword, and he is equally foppish as Paris. Number 4, the narrations. Oh my goodness, the narrations. The Try Guys managed to get a bunch of their YouTube friends to fill in with bits of narration. Now, this is really exciting, because instead of having to listen to some teacher, you get to see famous YouTubers like Rhett and Link, Smosh, or MadPat talk about the various moments of the play. Number 3, the Ice Bucket Challenge. In Act 4, where Juliet takes a potion to make her seem as if she were dead, the audience was again invited to take a poll. So instead of using a vial, Keith, as Juliet, was given an ice bucket to pour on his head and make it look like he was dead. Number 2, the costumes. The first Try Guy video, the one that introduced this whole concept, was a video where they talk about Elizabethan fashion and get to wear period-appropriate garments and talk about the period. They talk about the difference between the classes. They talk about what upper-class people wore, lower-class people wore. It was a really enlightening video. Plus, they get to make fun of the fact that Elizabethan men would definitely stuff their crotches in a region known as the codpiece. The final costumes are less elaborate than the ones they got to play with for that video, but at the same time, they serve their purposes. And number 1, Keith Habersberger as Juliet. My goodness. Most of the time when you watch a Try Guys video, you get the sense that they're winging it. They're just trying something new and use their own humility and intrepidity and their great sense of humor to offset the fact that they're trying something for the first time. But Keith nails it. He clearly has a lot of experience and a lot of passion for Shakespeare. He also directed this production, so I get the feeling that this was mostly his idea, and the other guys wanted to support him. He knows everything that he's saying. He understands every line. He imbues it with a ton of emotion. Naturally, since he's much taller, and since he's obviously a man playing a woman, in the first 2 acts of the play, he plays Juliet a bit for laughs, with girlish giggling and silly smiles. But after Mercutio is dead and Romeo is banished, Keith is completely absorbed in the role. You get the feeling that this must be what it was like to see the first Juliet back in the 1590s. His pain seems genuine. He has a feminine voice, but he no longer sounds like he's putting it on. It feels like that's the way he talks. And he has such emotion. And again, he never breaks character, even when he's consuming hot sauce or putting an ice bucket on his head. So his Juliet is just as good as any other professional production. So bravo, or should I say brava, to Keith and all the rest of the Try Guys for a truly wonderful and enjoyable evening of theater.